Hi, and welcome to Google Classroom. Those of you that are set up, we're just a quick hello and checking the sound. Um, Feel free to do whatever. We'll be back right at 4 o'clock. We'll start right at 4. Okay, thanks so much. But you're in the right place. Just make sure you have your the webinar on one side of your screen and then the Q&A on the other side. Hi, and welcome to Google Classroom. Those of you that are set up, we're just a quick Hi, everyone. Welcome to Google Classroom Intro, the webinar. We're happy to have you here, and we just want to say a quick hello. So, Rosie and I are here, and we wanted to say hello. So we'll be working with you today. I'm going to be doing more of the talking for the presentation.
And I'll be manning the question and answer session. So during the session, if you have any questions, and please don't hesitate to type them in. We'll also be asking you some questions throughout the webinar. So please type those in and you'll be getting your quick responses, hopefully.
And Rosie will chime in at any time from questions that you may have or any additions, right?
Exactly. So we hopefully will have a lively discussion going on.
All right, sounds good. So I'm gonna take the camera off. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. We are set to go. We're going to start out by playing a short video all about Google Classroom. Okay, so just sit, enjoy, and it's to kind of get you excited and to show you some parts of Google Classroom before we start. Okay. Okay, so just sit, enjoy, and it's to kind of get you excited and to show you some parts of Google Classroom before we start. I think you can hear both the music, but it's just music.
Hi, this is Rosie. Okay, so you logged into eLearning. Okay, and so down in the middle of the page, do you see Google Classroom Intro class? Okay.
Okay, so you might not have had the sound for the whole time. It was giving feedback, so I just muted it. So sorry about that, but it really was just music to go with the video. So here we are. You should have your window set up with the webinar on one side and the Q&A on the other side. And if you could go ahead and just post in the title, hello, and your school. And you'll hit new thread, and then post. So we're going to have you sign in. There'll be this sign in and then 3 other times that you'll post something you notice or wonder about the student view, and then a difference between the teacher, and then we have a ticket at the door at the end. I see our numbers are rising, so if you just came in, if you could have the webinar in one side and the Q&A on the other, and just in the Q&A, just type your name and your school, and we'll get started in a minute. You may not see anything happening in that discussion board, the Q&A. So in order to keep updated, you're just going to click on the Q&A and refresh. You can, if you click on it, hit F5 and it will refresh. So it's not the perfect system, but it works pretty well. Okay, good. So let's get started. How did Google Apps and Google Classroom get started in the district? This year we've had a big rollout from instructional technology with Chromebooks in probably 10, 12 schools, maybe a few more. And with that Chromebook initiative, every teacher, student, and district employee has a Google account. Now, in a lot of schools, you might not even know that you have one. But any school can use the Google accounts, and any teacher at any school can use Google Classroom. So the way we have this set up is this is an overview, and then the specifics will be within the class in e-learning.
That will take you to your student
so what is, if you haven't used your Google account yet, it is your ID at rcsd121 or 121.org, okay? And then it's your district password. When your password changes and you change it on a district PC, then it will automatically change your Google account. Okay, so the passwords are tied. Always change it on the district PC, and it will change the Google account.
And you'll start to hear Larissa's voice.
Now, your students also have Google accounts, and that is their full ID at rcsd121.org.
Click on that, it's going to open
it is their district password. If they haven't changed it, so if you're at School 28 and they just use the Student 28 login, then their default password is their birthday.
We'll talk to you online, okay?
And there is now, and you'll see this later on, there is a report in SPA that gives all your student logins. So what is Google Classroom? Again, we'll have an overview, and then all the specifics, the how-tos, will be in the e-learning class. So Google Classroom, it's a place where you can assign and collect work digitally from your students. What's nice is it organizes the assignments, and your students can leave you a message. You can, about an assignment. You can leave comments for them. Another nice feature is it manages the documents, the sharing of files. And we'll show that throughout, but it sets up, kind of does all the back end work for you. It is naming files for your students and organizing them in their Drive. And they access everything through Google Classroom. It is easy to use once you get the feel for it. If a student is absent, they can go in from home. They can go in on their phone, see everything they missed. A teacher doesn't have to go back to find handouts or links. They would be in Google Classroom, or they can be. And this, it really simplifies and automates the workflow. So you can do a lot of this sharing without Google Classroom, and that's totally fine. We'll show that, but it does make it kind of sets up that workflow. So that's what Google Classroom is. It's kind of like a light learning management system. What's nice is to have your work digitally and be able to correct papers, send them back without printing them out. So this will no longer be you. So what is Google Classroom is not a grade book, all right? We already have Power Teacher. We don't need another grade book. You can leave grades, but it is not a grade book. It's not a robust student management system. It's not a student management system, all right? We have PowerSchool, and that is our student management, so it is not replacing this. It is not a robust learning management system. Okay, it's more of a light version. We do have e-learning that teachers can work with, and that's more of a robust management system. Also, for those of you who have used Moodle or Blackboard on a college campus or a college class, that would be more of a robust learning management system. Google Classroom.
Are you muted? Okay, mute. I'm sorry. I'm getting a lot of responses in the Q&A session that people are saying that they're getting multiple voices playing at once. Okay.
Okay, so I'll make sure I'm muted.
Okay, so hopefully we fixed this problem. Thanks for giving us that response back in the Q&A.
Perfect. Google Classroom is not a PowerSchool or a Parent Connect. It is meant to work alongside of these existing solutions. Okay, I think we should just make sure, is any other posts about the feedback?
No, but I'll keep watching.
Okay, thank you. So you have some options when working with your students, and we're going to start not in Google Classroom. Since all your students have Google accounts, you can work right out of the Drive. In this way, students would create a document or a presentation and share with the teacher. As a teacher, you get an email, and then you can look in your shared with me and view, print, and look at the work. So that's one way. And we're going to highlight that and make sure show an example, because it kind of shows then later all the things that Google Classroom automates for you. So the second solution or the option would be using Google Classroom. That's what we're here to talk about. And then there is another solution, the learning management system, of using e-learning. And I think having a feel for all your options and choosing what works for you is the best. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to go to a student logon. Okay, and this is what a student would see on a Chromebook. If a student logs on to any computer, they would sign in to their Google account. And the apps launcher is in the upper right. When you click on the apps launcher, then you see the drive. So I'm going to go ahead and open the drive. This is a student account. Okay, I can see there's a lot of files already created. And I'm going to come up to New. And as a student, students can click on Google Docs and create a document. They will need to rename it. So I'm going to click on Rename.
But this is something that you said a student would do. They would go from their drive. They would have to create the document. They have to name the document. Okay.
So they had to name it. And I'm still going to put my name here. Okay, and I have my title. And now as a student, I can type my paragraph or my response. Okay. Now, when the student is done with their paragraph or their essay, they can come up to share. So right now, they haven't shared it. I'm going to go ahead and click on share and bring up Uceda, my teacher's last name, and I see that here is Ms. Uceda. So I'm going to click on that, and I can send or share it with my teacher. Again, this is where you can share it with any student or teacher in the district. So I'm going to go ahead and send. So this is one way that students can work with their Google account. Create a document, name it, share it with their teacher, sorry. Kind of to give you the feel. So let's go back now. And that was using the drive. Now, using Google Classroom, the teacher creates an announcement or an assignment, and that is already, the students can then open the announcement, open the assignment, and they can create or use the attached documents and turn them in to the teacher. The teacher can then view, grade, and return the students. And instead of going to their drive, they're doing this through Google Classroom. And of course, we're going to show this in a minute. The last option would be using Google e-learning as a classroom. There is a 6-hour PD that you can take. It's an e-learning class that will set you up with your own domain where you can create a class in e-learning. So it's pretty much where you are now in e-learning, you're creating that for your students. You create the coursework. There are more options for customizing your class. The students will get the content, the assignments, submit work, and post to discussions in e-learning. So those are kind of the 3 choices that you have. And again, we're giving you an overview so you can select what makes sense for your students in your classroom.
So Larissa, we just had a question on the Q&A that said, will we be able to re-watch this webinar?
Yes, tomorrow during the day, we will post the webinar in the exact same place where you came to view it. We'll have the AM session and the PM session. Okay, so you can refer back to it. There's also a lot of videos in the class to help you along with all the tasks. So let's look at what Google Classroom looks like. First, we're going to look at it from a student view. Now, students can go from the student landing page. There is an icon that you see, the group of people with the yellow and green. They can click here if they're in the district. Okay, if they're not, they can go classroom.google.com. So they would type it in, and they are in Google Classroom. Okay, so this is my student account, and the student is in multiple classes. Now, as you're watching, think of something you notice or wonder about the student view. We will be asking you in a couple of minutes to post to the Q&A something you notice or wonder about the student view. So I'm here, the name, this is my class name and my teacher, and I'm on the first tab on the stream. And I notice, or please note, you don't have to look at the details, but you can see there is like a Facebook kind of social media stream. At the bottom, the newest thing is at top. So there are announcements, links that my teacher has left me, some comments. I see some other students have left comments. There are also assignments. And I can see over here, I have the upcoming assignments. So this is the left-hand tab, the stream, where students will be most of the time. The next tab is classmates. And here are just the names of teachers that are in the class. Sorry, the names of other students in the class. So all your students will be here. They can see each other. Notice there's this mail icon to the right. Please know that your students cannot email each other. It is turned off. So they can click on it, but they're not going to be able to email each other. You can sort by first or last name. The about is where about the class, the teacher can put some links here. They can put the name, the room number. What's important for students, this is the name of the folder in their drive, and we'll look at this later. This is that kind of back-end work that Google Classroom does for your students, okay? It creates a class folder, and then all of the work that they do for this class will be in this folder, in their drive. They're accessing it through Google Classroom, but it's also leaving, the files are created here. One more thing, and then we'll have you post something you notice or wonder. Up on the left-hand side, there's these hot dogs, or the main menu. If, as a student, you click on it, when you click home, you can see the different classes that you're in. And you can just click on the name of the class to get into the class. Okay, I like to actually just flip here, and as a student, you can go to your different classes. What I also like is, this is fairly new, they have an assignments. So if a student clicks on that assignment, it has for all classes or I can narrow it to one class and I have my to-dos. So as a student, it helps organize the student.
Larissa, we just had a good question tossed up here. Why is email turned off between the students?
Currently in the district for grade 7 plus, we already have email. So we don't need to duplicate that and have another email. Okay. So back to here, we have the students' to-dos, and then they can click and they can see the assignments they've already done, and that's where it gives the grades also. Okay, so I'm going to click on that and go back into the class. So that was a quick overview of the student view. We'll come back to it, but if you could please type something you notice or wonder about the student view in the Q&A, please. And I will work on my wait time and give you time to do that. Rosie, I'll let you give me the okay when we have some posts.
We'll see what comes up on the Q&A.
Again, something you notice or wonder about the student view. And then we'll be back and talk a little bit more about the student view. I see we have a question if the students are able to customize the view. No, only the teacher can set that background for the class. So students do not have that ability. But it is important, and the students it gives the student a feel for which class they're in by the picture. In the beginning, we had a question about how do students know that they have a post or they have new work. They would, Rosie, can they access? Usually it would be through the teacher, students knowing that they got the work.
How would the students know that there was a new assignment?
Yes.
Well, if they went to their hot dogs and they went to the assignments tab, then they would know that there were new assignments sitting there.
So they're going to actively go into the class. So, and that could be part of the rituals and routines.
Yes, as a part of the rituals and routines in your class, as normally you would have something posted on your board, or it would be like a morning work. Well, one of the rituals and routines you could have in your class is to always go to your Google Classroom, go to the assignment, go to your hot dogs, go to assignments, and work on your assignments. So that way students would always know, go check your assignments.
Okay, so I'm going to come back and I want to spend just a couple more minutes in that student view in Google Classroom.
We're getting a lot of good feedback here, Larissa.
Okay, great. So now again, I'm in the student and I want to show two things. The first, this is an announcement, and I'm going to even scroll down. Oh, I see. I have a question about what are the hot dogs? Oh, you're gonna love the hot dogs. Look, see the three lines up here? It's the Google, they're the hot dogs or the main menu. So if you click up here on the hot dogs, and in Google we call them hot dogs, more the settings, okay? And for the students, it's in the upper left. Okay, we are, this is an announcement, so a place where a teacher can leave a link, they can leave files for the students. And in this one, the steps are to click on the link below, the BrainPop link, and it gives the login information, watch the video, and then there is a handout that is in the video center. So just the first two parts are done on the computer, watch the video, and then the handout about the BrainPop video can be completed in center. So the student can click on it, it opens in a new tab. They would log in, watch the video, okay? And I'm going to quit that. Students, you can also see that I can leave a comment if it's turned on for me. So as a student, I can leave a comment on an announcement. So it could also be somewhere where students can comment. Could be about a topic, they watch a video and reply something they learned, or something they already know as part of a KWL. That is an announcement. Now I'm going to scroll up, and I can see this assignment has already been returned. It's done. This one is done. So the newest one is on top. I'm going to click on the assignment to open it up. And there are two tabs, which is really important to point out to your students. This has no information, so I'm going to click over to the instructions tab. The instructions, this is a third grade assignment about Freaky Frogs. So write a paragraph showing what you have learned about frogs, create the document, type a paragraph, and turn it in. Okay, I got that. So the instructions are here, and then the student can come over to your work, and there is a create. So if they click create, and then click document, something is happening. Something, it takes, we are all web-based, so it takes a minute, and you can see that a document has been created. What's really nice is it named it for the name of the assignment dash the student name. It created a Google Doc. Now, as a student, I can click on this, open the Google Doc, and type my heading. Frogs. And I can go ahead and type okay, my essay. I don't have to share it with my teacher, okay? All that work we did before where you had, the student had to create the document, name it, and share it, that's already been done. So when I'm done with this as a student, and I'm just gonna stop here, you'll see that there's this turn in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, the sharing has already been done, and I can turn it in when I'm done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I can leave a note and turn in my assignment to my teacher. It marks it as done. And when you think about when you're sharing, right now, the document has been turned over to the teacher, okay? I can't continue work on it till it is returned to me. Or if I really, because I didn't finish it, I can, as a student, unsubmit it, work on it some more. But once I submit it, I can't keep working on it till the teacher returns it to me.
You know, Larissa, when you get to another part of this assignment, we're getting a lot of questions about students collaborating.
Oh, cool.
And so before you get out of this assignment, maybe we can talk about that.
What if I jump in right now and unsubmit that and see how they could share it? Are you thinking?
Maybe when you get back,
Okay.
I'll jump in.
Okay. Yep. Jump in when you think is fit. So I'm going to come back out of that assignment, and I see that that assignment is marked done, so it's turned in. Later, when it's returned to me, I can click on the assignment or go up here to my assignments and I'll see my grade.
Okay, so like Larissa was saying, if you have an assignment that you wanted students to collaborate on, because since the email feature is not turned on, so
should I open this one?
Yes.
So this would be a group project, are you thinking?
Yes.
Okay. So it is shared with each student, but I have seen, I'm going to open this back up. Oops. Sorry. I need to unsubmit it. So a student can open up this file, and if I have seen in classrooms where they would share it to have someone edit their work with them and give them feedback, or if there was partners working on the same document, the student could come up. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, we've got multiple ways, and that's the nice thing about Google is you could share the document with someone from right here inside Google Classroom. Okay, which is what Larissa showed at the beginning. Okay.
So the student could share it with another student.
Okay, so you could do that from right here. Okay, and then another feature is if it's something that the students had already, because this is one of the questions that someone had posed in the question board, was if the students had already created something in their drive and shared it back and forth. So maybe they want to add it from their Google Drive. That's something that they could do from right here.
Great. So you don't have to, right, okay.
Okay. Or maybe whenever we go back and look at the teacher side, we could just quickly visit how a document is not shared with everybody, but it's something, just quickly glance at that.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Yep.
Just to help with this collaboration piece. We've got a lot of questions about that.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn this in again so that when we go to the teacher side, we can look at it. Now we're going to go look at this classroom from the teacher. So here we are. And I want you to think of, we'll kind of do a walk around the teacher view. And if you can notice a difference between the teacher and the student view, you will be asked to post a difference to the sharing board. So again, as the teacher, you're going to see your 3 tabs, your stream, students, and about. And also in the far right, you can see that as a teacher, you can select a theme. So they have a lot of already created themes. or you can upload a photo, this one is a bird's nest from a picture I had. You could have your group of students right there, a picture. So it is nice to customize that look and feel, so students can easily identify your class. So only the teacher can make those changes. On the stream, it looks pretty similar. Again, the last post is at the top. And here is, as a teacher, where I would post an announcement. Okay, announcement is just giving the information to the students. They do not need to turn it in or mark it done. But you can add different files and links. It's a great way to get links to your students instead of writing them on the board. This is also where I would post an assignment. And an assignment, again, is something the students will have to mark done or turn into you. I like to number the assignments. So I have number 5, I would do number 6. You can put the due date. And if you are a secondary teacher, maybe an ELA teacher, when you create an assignment, you can add that assignment to different classes. So if you teach 3 sections of the same class, you would have the 3 classrooms, and then you could do it in with one assignment. When I'm looking at an assignment, I see these 3 dots here. So that I can edit my assignment if I wanted to change the due date. I can also delete an assignment. And as a teacher, I can see this assignment 1 person has done and 10 are not completed. This is kind of in real time. So as people turn it in, it will show up here right away.
And you know, something that I discovered in real time was that sometimes if that doesn't pop up, you do have to refresh the browser.
So using that F5 on the PC to refresh.
Yes.
I think that's good in general with working in the Drive or in the Google apps. If you're having an issue, refresh. Okay, on this stream, we also have the upcoming assignments, and I have my class code. So in order to have students join your class, you can give them that code, and it's right there. So this is the stream. It has a little more of the work that you can do with students. One thing we didn't talk about is the comments. So down here, I see that a student has left a comment. A teacher view can click here and delete a comment, so if it's inappropriate, or I can mute a student. We wish it was this easy, right, as teachers. But if someone is putting an inappropriate comment, you can mute them and they no longer have the ability to comment in the stream. So you might mute them for a week and then give them those rights back. The next tab is the students. Did you want to jump in, Rosie?
Oh, could I quickly?
Sure.
Okay, so back to this student collaboration piece on the assignments. Just quickly, so if you are creating an assignment, and this will be gone over more in depth whenever we get in, when you go through the class, but whenever you are creating an assignment, there is a feature that comes in that says that you can, when you attach things, that says you can give it out to each individual person, or each person gets their own copy.
Okay.
And or you're giving the whole class the same document, and that way if the whole class is getting the same document,
yeah,
you know, that way maybe you're having one group work on the same document,
Okay.
and that way they could be collaborating on the same document, and you wouldn't have to be sharing things through Google Drive. Okay, so that's covered more whenever you get into making your assignments, and that might help whenever you are thinking about your collaborating.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't have an example of that, but
Right.
it is in the
Right.
class. So the next tab is the Students tab. And again, you'll spend more time in the class with this, but there's a couple ways you can invite your students. You'll see this blue invite. If you just have one student to add, you can search them here. And I can click and invite the student, okay? And they'll just have to join the class when they go to Google Classroom. You can also, through your contacts, and that's what we show in the class, you're going to create a contact group and invite students that way. I'm going to click off here. You can also, and this may be more appropriate for a secondary teacher, give the class class code to students, and they would join with the code. So this is in the invite. You can set, if you choose all your students, you can set what they can do in the stream. So now it is set that they can only comment. You can let them also post and comment, or only the teacher. So if you want to lock it down more in the beginning, it would be not letting them. It is kind of nice if you have gone over that digital citizenship and what's appropriate to, they really like leaving comments and seeing what other students are commenting. So that is a feature. If you feel comfortable, great. Otherwise, you can turn it off. The about is where the teacher can leave more information about their class, their room number, and down below, you can leave materials. So it may be a link that works for the whole class to the textbook, or you may have a document in your drive with all of the links. You can attach that here in the about. And again, this is the name of the class, what is created, that back-end work that Google Classroom creates in the drive. So that's the about. I'm going to come back to the stream and think about a difference that you noticed between the student and the teacher view. If you could go ahead and leave a comment. We'll have that comment and then one last comment as the ticket out the door.
And you know, Larissa, they were already posting some comments
okay,
as it was
we went.
going along.
Good.
Okay. So we have a lot of nice things going on. Some of the questions that were asked was, is the code for the class automatically created? Okay. And yes, the code for the class is automatically created. And do teachers, when they mute a student, maybe just for one section, does it mute the student for the whole class? Okay, and yes, it does mute the student for the whole class.
But not if you have them in a different class.
Right, exactly.
So for like a 5th grade teacher, you would mute them for ELA, but maybe not for math.
Mm-hmm. And one of the features that is different between Google Classroom and like e-learning is, can the teacher lock an assignment so that the students are no longer able to submit? That is not a feature that Google Classroom has yet, okay, but it is a feature like if you're looking for certain particular things and you continue to notice these things, you know, and you keep looking at them and you're like going, I really want something that's more robust than this, then maybe that is something that you need to take that 6-hour course for e-learning.
Okay, yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
But yes, we've got a lot of good comments here.
Great. Now, let's go back to the the teacher view. And when we were a student, we submitted. Let's see what that looks like for the teacher. So we had that frog assignment, and I see one person is done, 10 not. So I'm going to click on here, that one person, and I see that Larissa's student has submitted. So I'm going to open that, and I see the document here. So as a teacher, I can click on that. It opens in a new tab, and I can read it and grade it. Kind of a next steps feature, but we'll mention it. You can leave specific feedback within the document as a teacher. So I can highlight a word or a sentence and leave a comment. Okay, and leave a comment for the student. So that would be kind of the next step, but know that you can do it. So after I read the submission, I'm going to come back and I can grade it. It's out of 100 points. When you create the assignment, you can also change that. I'm going to put it out of 4 points, and it's going to change it for the assignment. So I'm going to give the student a 0 and leave an overall comment here. Please complete and resubmit. Now, I can post my comment, but I need to return it and see how it automatically checked this, and I need to return it to the student. So that gives them the control over the work, and they can continue to work on it. So as a teacher, I can click return, and that is now returned to the student. If I come out here, the student would then be able to open that and view the comments and work on it. One last feature of the teacher view is when I click on those hot dogs, again, that classroom menu in the upper left, I can see there is an assignments for the classes I'm teaching. And this is a lot with all my classes. I'm just going to show one class. And I can see that I still have to review something in here. When I'm done with that and I'm no longer accepting work, I can mark it as reviewed, and it will come over to this reviewed. So it's kind of a to-do list for the teacher. Again, the teacher is going to flip between their classes here. They can also come home, and this is where they will create a new class. Now, we talked a lot about it's creating something, a folder in the drive. Let's spend a minute and look at that. I'm going to go to back to my student account. And when I click on About, there's this folder here, the Drive folder. When I click on that, it's going to open, and it's the same thing for a teacher or a student. It opens my Drive. So I'm going to click on my Drive, and Google Classroom has created a classroom folder in each of the students and the teacher's Drive. You don't really even need to do anything with it, but it is important to know it's here. I'm going to open this, and I see all of the classes that I'm in. If I click on one of the classes, here's all my work that I've submitted. So for a student, it's important. They'll have these files long after this year of work. They're still there, so it's almost like their portfolio or their work. So that is that whole back end work that is created, that automatic workflow. Now, we're just finishing up here. So there is an app, an iPhone, Android app in the Play Store or the App Store, which is great. Students and teachers, you can get a lot of work done just by monitoring it on your phone.
You know, and that was a couple of the questions.
Okay, good.
And I knew that that would be covered later, okay? And it's very helpful. We know lots of teachers and students that do use this app on their Android and on their iPhone, okay?
So one last, just to refresh, we talked about sharing files. In the beginning, we showed that. We talked about Google Classroom, which we suggest for grades 3 through 12, whichever your comfort level is. For teachers who have students creating work and documents, and e-learning for grades 7 through 12. Teacher setup required if you're finding you want a little more robust system. So lastly, if you could please leave your ticket out the door, and that is to please post one thing you learned, or it doesn't have to be both, one question you have. The Q&A has been very helpful. I see Rosie has been very busy over there. So we will make that available so you can look back and read through the comments. This webinar will also be posted tomorrow. So in that view webinar, there'll be the video there, so you can refer back to it. So if you could go ahead and post this last post. And then we want to thank you for spending the time with us. I know it's a busy time.
Okay, so thanks for joining us, and thanks everyone for participating today.
Excellent. So you still have a week, so we'll still be working with you in the online portion through next Wednesday. All right, and that's all more of the how-tos.
And we do appreciate all of your feedback that you've given us here today for the webinar. And just please let us know how it went, okay?
Yeah, I hope that feedback was okay. It's the first time we've had that. So great. Thanks a lot. We are here monitoring for a couple more minutes. I'm just going to mute so you won't hear me talking.